All right, let's pivot to the NFL draft. And oh boy, things are getting spicy at the top. Now, I do want to preface this by saying, by nature, I think I'm a risk taker. I could tell you stories about my family coming from the Caribbean to America back in the 60s and 70s, but I won't bore you with that. However, I myself am a risk taker. Many of you who know my story, I was at a magazine in New York City. I decided to quit to run a sports blog full time. You can imagine how that went over to the future in-laws. Oh, so Jason, how's work? Yeah, I quit my job to run a sports blog. And I get this blank stare. What's that? You know, this was like 2006, 7. And I obviously got a little lucky with it, and it paid off. But taking a risk worked. So 9 years ago, you know, Colin, Cowherd, and Fox come to me, and they're like, hey, would you move across the country to try your hand at TV? Risk taker, Jason? Yeah, let's give it a shot. Why not? Family was like, are you sure about this? So far, so good. We'll see what the future holds. But taking risks in life, you know, high reward, high risk. I like being a risk taker. I do some gambling. I don't mind playing the card games in Vegas. Enter the Cleveland Browns, who are in risky territory at number 2. If we assume Cam Ward is going 1 to Tennessee, which everybody has, what's happening at 2 is all over the place. So everybody knows one of the best news breakers in the NFL is Adam Schefter. He does a great job. In February, he said it made sense for the Browns to draft Shedeur Sanders, a quarterback, not Shedeur, a quarterback at 2. In March, he came out and said, you know what, Abdul Carter is the lean right now for the Browns. Here we are in April, and Schefter comes out this week and says, you know, it looks like Travis Hunter is going to go 2 to the Browns. Folks, nobody knows what Cleveland's going to do. Let's stop pretending like anyone has a clue. It all comes down to what would you do? And this is where I get risky, and I say, I'm taking Shedeur Sanders. I understand he doesn't have elite arm strength. He doesn't have elite escapability. He doesn't have elite size. I mean, you know, frankly, he didn't have elite protection at Colorado, so I don't think we've seen the best Shedeur Sanders. Could he be Tua, a highly accurate quarterback who's kind of sort of limited by his size? Sure, he could be Tua. I don't think that would be the worst thing in the world. Tua's a good quarterback. He's had a couple good runs if he could stay healthy. You know, he's been paid. Dolphins got to the playoffs with him. Could he be Tua? Sure. Could Shedeur Sanders be Zach Wilson? Yeah, that would not surprise me either. Could he be Trey Lance, who the 49ers riskily, is that even a word, traded up in the draft? They went up to get Trey Lance, who I believe is out of the league currently. He may end up on a roster, but I think the Cowboys have moved on with this new Joe Milton move. So, folks, do you risk it by going Shedeur Sanders at 2? I keep hearing Abdul Carter. He's safest pick in the draft. Okay, well, you start to drill down on Carter. He's coming off a surgery. He's got like a foot thing. And then there are reports about, like, was he the hardest worker at Penn State? You know, maybe this is people trying to poison the water for Abdul Carter. I think he looks like a great football player. But safe? You know who else was safe? Chase Young coming out of Ohio State. Remember him? One of the Bosa twins. Bosa brothers, who was with the Chargers for a long time. I thought he was supposed to be safe. Like, they just moved on from him. Good player, but he was supposed to be safe. What does safe mean? Is Travis Hunter that safe? Okay, great. You've got a wonderful wide receiver. What are you going to do with him? Go ask the Giants how that worked out with Malik Neighbors. They got 3 different quarterbacks thrown to them, and they're not winning anything. So what is safe? And I'll counter that with, I take the risk, and I go Shedeur Sanders, because you know what? If I get Hunter, and I got no quarterback thrown to him, I'm probably getting fired if I'm the front office. If I got Abdul Carter and Myles Garrett coming off the edge, ooh, exciting. I got no quarterback. But, Jay, you're forgetting. Kirk Cousins to Cleveland. What about the rumors? Well, guys, I looked it up. Kirk Cousins, his last 5 games in Atlanta, he had 1 touchdown and 9 picks. He was benched. Now, could that be because of the Atlanta offense? Maybe. Could it be that Kirk Cousins is washed? That's also possible. Is he going to work out in Cleveland and the outdoor situations in that division? I don't know. He seems like an indoor quarterback to me. I know he went to Michigan State, but I don't think Kirk Cousins is a slam dunk. Let's not pretend that magical run by Joe Flacco, where he won, 5 games, they got to the playoffs, and they got smashed by 50 because he threw 2 pick sixes. Let's not act like that is definitely going to duplicate itself with whoever you put in at quarterback. I take a risk and I grab Shedeur. Could you wait until the second round and get Cowherd's favorite guy, Mr. McCord from Syracuse? Sure, you could do that. Guys, I just went down the list of the best second-round quarterbacks ever drafted. Brett Favre, home run with Green Bay, not his first team. Geno Smith, kind of sort of thriving now in a late season surge. It didn't happen with the Jets when they drafted him. He was a risk. Second round. He didn't work out with the Jets. Andy Dalton. I won't even say Cowherd's nickname for him, but he has 0 career playoff wins. Could he be Jalen Hurts or Drew Brees, the second-round quarterback who thrives and wins a Super Bowl? Sure. 2 quarterbacks won Super Bowls. Obviously, Boomer Esiason was a second-round pick. You can hit on them. But this idea that, hey, Shedeur's a huge risk, isn't everyone a risk? I mean, guys, I hate to break it to you. Cam Ward at 1, as much as I like him, he's a risk. He's good at Washington State, great at Miami. Is he going to work in the NFL? Nobody knows. And that's why we could talk about the NFL draft for 9 months out of the year, because nobody knows a damn thing. But I'm telling you right now, if you want to be a risk taker, Shedeur Sanders is your guy at number 2 in the draft. Cleveland, I'm just here to help. That's all we do, Alex. We're trying to help these teams out. And I think you got to go Shedeur Sanders, too, in the draft.
It's also like the most important position on the team. And if you have a gaping hole at the most, who's driving your ship, the most important position, you have to go after it if the option is there, especially at number 2.
I hear all this talk, oh, well, you could draft Travis Hunter, then trade back in the first to get Shedeur.
You don't know if he's going to be there.
Now reports that the Saints love him at 9.
Yeah.
So you're going to jump it up to 8? You giving up all that draft capital? It just feels like too many gymnastics.
I think that, like, when you say, like, safe, I think the safest thing about both Travis and Shedeur is their leader, their coach, Deion Sanders, who is obviously Shedeur's father, but a father figure for Travis. Like, we heard him talk about that and cry about that at his Heisman acceptance speech. He knows what it takes to win in the NFL. So he's preparing these guys to be able to be successful at that level. So I think when you say, like, safe, that might be the closest, like, mentally, I think they'll be ready for it.
Safe or risk, take chances in life. It's fun.